Hello everyone, this is my first YouTube video, so please be kind, and I made it to show my first ever Beermat Mini, because I thought a video would be a better way to show all the pages. It is up on my blog and there are photographs there, and I've also put links to all the products that I used here. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about the products today and just show the album. And the link to my blog is below, so you can use that. I thought this would be a perfect little mini to give to the bride and groom, and you could also, as a little gift, you could also put some money or a gift card in one of the pockets, along with a photo mat, to make it, you know, a really nice gift if you wanted to. I thought it would be really good because these days lots of people go to weddings with their smartphones, and so many people use Instagram, and it's quite nice to have photos that are not the official ones. So I thought it would be a perfect little album for that. It's made, as I said, with beer mats or drink coasters. They're just made of chipboard. If you can't get hold of these are unused ones that I had. They were promotional ones that I've had for ages and haven't gotten around to use till now. So if you can't get them, you can just use standard chipboard and cut it to size. They're super fun and so easy and quick to make. I made this one in a single day, so that will give you an idea. Very easy to cover them. You just cut your paper to size, a little bit larger than your mat. Glue the paper on, and when it's completely dry, you turn it upside down, trim around the edge with a craft knife. It doesn't have to be too perfectly exact, as long as you don't trim it too small, because afterwards you go round with a sanding block and you sand it all down so it's nice and neat, and then you just ink the edges. I inked mine with Walnut Stain Distress ink, and that just finishes them off. The binding here is very simple. You could do something more fancy if you wanted to, but I think with something this small, these binding rings work perfectly. Although you could, if you didn't want to use a binding ring, you could thread ribbon through them. That would work fine as well, or some chain. And I've completely covered it almost with strips of ribbon and seam binding and lace. I added a large, I don't know the right way, a large key charm that says Dream on it, which, you can see that, which I thought would be perfect for this album. And I've got a few charms that I bought because I like the look of them, but when they came through, they were a little bit too big to go on my cards, so they're perfect for this. And the other dangle here is actually upcycled. It's an earring, but I thought it looked really nice on here. I bought the earrings and never wore them. And they were too pretty to throw away, so I thought that would make a nice use. The front is decorated, not over embellished, because of the size of the album, and because I didn't want to cover these pretty papers. And so I just kind of complemented the design here and used some mulberry paper flowers. And this is a piece of Prima Bling, and it is, when I say a piece of bling, it is a piece of bling. I like to cut the large pieces down because I find they're too large to use on my cards and too expensive. One piece of bling can cost, I think this would cost about £3.75 to buy in the UK, and that makes, on top of all the other items you're using on your cards, or I use on my cards, it would make it quite expensive. But when you cut it down into pieces like this, I find they're more practical, more easy to use in spots, and you know, you can get several projects out of one piece of bling, which makes it much more economical. I'm racing a bit here because I don't want to spend hours and hours on this video, plus the fact I don't know how much storage I've got on my iPhone. The word here is just a polymer word, and I'll bring it closer. I just covered it, I just think I just painted it, and then I used some ivory, aged ivory frontage on it, so you've got these little flecks of gold on it, which I think look really nice. But you could use it as you wish. You could use the plain polymer Word, but I didn't like the kind of white colour that it was. It looked a bit of a funny colour, especially against this. So I used the Frontage, and I like that. Okay, so the book has 5 of these pages, 5 of these beer mats, which make 10 pages, or 8 pages plus a front and a back cover. I covered the back as well in the same paper as the front, but I used 12 by 12 papers and just cut whatever bits out that I wanted. You could use 6 by 6 papers, but I think you'd end up with a lot of wastage that way. It depends on the size of your mini. If you were doing a 3 by 3 mini, then obviously 6 by 6 papers would be perfect for that. And if I'd had 8 by 8 papers, they would have been perfect for this size, because this is 3.75 inches by 3.75 inches. So you'd have got 4 pages out of an 8 by 8 pad. But these are 12 by 12, and what was left I either used for photo mats or saved to use for a card later on. So that worked for me. So inside the first page, I made a little pocket here with some of the papers. I just used some very thin score tape. Mostly I use wet glue on my projects for the papers and things, but for here, because obviously I didn't want the glue to squidge out and end up sticking down some of the other parts of the pocket, I used a very narrow, I think it was 1/8 of an inch score tape around the edge to make the pocket. These little border dies are so tiny, they're perfect for a small project like this. And then there's just a strip of self-adhesive pearls and a little Prima flower. The tags are cut with a tag die, and I just covered one side in the design paper, and then on 2 of them I left the insides blank for journaling, etc. And on this one I actually stamped a sentiment that says, I'm getting in focus, "You hold the key to my heart." And the stamping that I did in the album I just did with the same distress ink that I used to edge the pages, because I wanted a kind of vintagey look. So I used distress ink to do my sentiment stamping. Next page I really kept very simple, because I loved the design on the paper and I just thought it looked so nice. I thought they could stick a photo straight on, or some kind of memorabilia or whatever they wanted to do, or even just write on there. And I just decorated it with 3 little heart pearls there, just kind of randomly stuck on, because I didn't want a straight orderly look. This page I got quite creative, and I have noticed a mistake that as the glue was drying my pearl has slipped, so I'm going to have to correct that later. And I made a photo mat here that looks like a clock, because I don't know, I use clocks quite a lot sometimes on my wedding cards, because I think it's supposed to be like, you know, sort of forever, time, etc, etc, happily ever after, which is the sentiment that I've used on this little tab here that's cut with a banner die, just to hold the photo mat in place. And the back of the photo mat is just plain, and if they didn't want to use it as a photo mat, you could put journaling on there instead if you wanted. These little strips, which help to hold that and stop it slipping out perfectly, are just cut from a peon paper border sheet. The border had lots of different sentiments on it, and not all of them were suitable for a wedding mini, because it wasn't wedding paper that I used. This is actually, all the papers in here are mostly vintage wedding, but these strips are from the A Day in May collection, and that just says it is your day today, and this one says congratulations, which were both perfect. A couple of more little tabs here. I just popped this one up on a very thin bit of foam tape. As I say, just cut with a banner die. Another photo mat, blank on the back. I didn't decorate any of the backs. You could do if you wanted to. You could put more design paper on there if you wanted to, but I left them blank so that they could either use them as photo mats or write some journaling on there. But the choice is entirely up to you. Here again, another page, another photo mat. Sorry, I've knocked the camera there. one of these tiny little border dies again, little Prima flower, and again some decorative paper and plain on the back, and that just slips snugly in there. This one is a little bit more fancy. I cut a couple of die cut butterflies on the top of the pattern paper there, and this is actually an accordion insert, and I just secured it with some twine which is glued underneath as the mat is glued on. I could have used some thin ribbon, but I didn't have thin ribbon in the right colour, and I was having so much fun making it I was too impatient to wait till the following day when I could go to the shops and get some ribbon. I would have had to wait till I came home from work, and I wanted to get it finished then and there. So this just opens up like that, and then it's an accordion fold, so it just all folds out like that. I can't get it all in shot at once, but there's a photo mat. Then I cut some little hearts and stamped a sentiment on that one to have and to hold. More design paper, and this one I did the same as the other, but I didn't stamp a sentiment on. I thought they could put some journaling on there, or maybe a date, name of the bride and groom, or whatever they wanted to do. On this side, I didn't decorate these 2 pages with patterned paper. I just used a plain peon paper of the same collection, and I thought that way they could either use them for more photos, or they could write some stuff or stick some mementos, whatever they wanted to do there. The page behind is the only page that isn't the Vintage Wedging collection. It's the same A Day in May paper that I used the little border strips from, and it actually goes really, really well with the Vintage Wedging collection, so you can mix and match the two if you want to. Here I made a little corner pocket to hold the photo mat, and just used a little wooden button with some more of the same twine that I used to tie up the accordion fold. Again, another decorated photo mat, plain on the back. And on the last page here, I just cut a die cut and stamped a sentiment on there to finish, and it says "Love is patient, love is kind," which I thought was really nice for Wedding Minnie. And another one of these little Prima flowers. As I say, the links to all the products used are on my blog, so you can visit there if you want to know exactly what I use and where to get it. So that's my first ever Be A Mat Mini album, and I can safely say I will be making more, because I've got 2 semi-completed ones done at the moment. One's a baby one, and one is probably going to be a Sweet 16 one. I haven't quite decided exactly what it's going to be, but it's a pretty one. So if this video comes out well when I watch it back, if you're watching it now, I guess it has, and I will be making some more. If I get really brave, I might make a video tutorial, but that will have to wait till I get a tripod for my proper camera. Okay, so that's all from me, and thank you very much for watching.